like to start off with some information about our multilateral cooperation, which involves, I've put V4+, so I don't know if everybody is familiar with the V4, or the Visegrad 4 countries, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, and Poland. On this basis, we have begun a number of multilateral projects due to a common history, common geographic location. First thing I have on this slide is our cooperation on the existing Visegrad Digital Parliamentary Library Plus portal. We've included also Austria, and in addition to the countries that are part of the Visegrad countries. This portal is something which needs to be further developed. Currently, it contains basic parliamentary information about rules of procedure, some basic information about parliamentary history, some links. Mostly it's a collection of links so that the various resources on the websites of our parliaments are easily accessible from one spot. And we had a conference in the summertime talking about ways to further expand this as a hub for exchanging research papers and other information through this website for our regional multilateral cooperation. So this will certainly see some further improvement in the near future. On this website, we also have a multilingual parliamentary dictionary. I think I may have inadvertently started this more than 10 years ago when, or we probably started it in our respective parliaments individually. But especially before the Czech Republic's presidency in the EU, we started looking at a terminological dictionary which would facilitate many commonly used terms from the perspective of the parliament and give some good definitions and good translations of terms where we were seeing that interpreters and translators were consistently making mistakes because of the specific nature of parliamentary terminology. So we did something at the level of the Czech Parliament, and then later on the government cooperated with us on a government parliamentary dictionary in the Czech Republic. And I think this was happening in parallel in the Visegrad countries, and eventually this was all combined with a couple of additional languages added to create a multilingual parliamentary dictionary. It contains more than 1,000 parliamentary terms. So the idea is that this was something where even highly skilled interpreters and translators were making a variety of mistakes because of the very, very specific nature of the terminology. I'm sure you have also a similar experience in the European Parliament. So this is also contained on this parliamentary library portal of the Visegrad Group, and you have the web addresses, so I'm sure this presentation will be available online on this conference website, so you'll be able to access these as well. On our second slide, for further multilateral cooperation, this goes a little bit beyond sort of library and research. We've had a lot of expert cooperation among the Visegrad countries at the level of implementation of EU twinning projects, for example. So although traditionally that has included mostly colleagues involved in legislative work and EU approximation work, but we've also expanded that. So colleagues participating in any kind of parliamentary expert activity have had the opportunity to cooperate together on such projects, either in the Western Balkans or currently in Moldova, where we have a consortium of Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary implementing a parliamentary strengthening twinning project in Moldova. So that's also a good basis for regular, almost bi-monthly cooperation of these three parliaments, but we've also actually included Polish experts, so it truly is a Visegrad project. Next thing, in terms of opportunities for multilateral cooperation between our experts, not only research, but also other expert departments, has been cooperation in the context of providing expert support to V4 parliamentary meetings. Within our Visegrad group, politicians, MPs meet either conferences of speakers of the V4 parliaments, meetings of sectoral committees of V4 parliaments, and regular meetings of committees for European affairs. In that context, obviously, to these meetings, not only do experts travel and meet and cooperate, but all of the preparatory work is also coordinated. So many of our experts actually in the Czech Republic, EU affairs is part of parliamentary research. So that means that we've been regularly in touch with our colleagues in the other expert departments. So that's been another opportunity for increased knowledge and regional cooperation. Then I have just 2 quick slides. Because of the common history between the Czech Republic and Slovakia and a very similar language, we've had a lot of bilateral cooperation. So I've put it as bilateral cooperation within V4, but I'll speak mostly about our experience with our Slovak colleagues. So because of the language similarity, we're able to provide MPs with the research outputs, the products of the research service in the other country. So with no need to translate, the Slovak version can be transmitted to Czech MPs. The Czech version of our products can be transmitted to Slovak MPs. So what we've actually done is many of these things are available online, but we've taken these products and the products of the other country's research service, and we've put them into our internal database. They show up quicker when we do our reference searches. So by integrating the products of our Slovak colleagues in our Czech database of research products, we treat them as if they were our own. We have their consent to give them to Czech MPs and vice versa as well. So we've done a lot of sort of internal integration of the research products of the 2 research services, simply because of the language similarity, and also many of the policy issues affecting our region are common. We have also regular Czech-Slovak parliamentary exchanges and internships for especially for young employees of the research services. So usually once a year on a rotating basis, one colleague will spend a week in the research service of the other country, and that has helped us get up to speed where we've seen, in terms of product development or technological database development, each of our research services has been better at times at something, and that's allowed some sharing of expertise on an informal level. Moreover, what we've done, and we started a few years ago, is now we're, I think, at a frequency of biannual methodological seminars for product development, research, or talking about new research and methodological tools, use of new technologies. This is something that we've done so that we can share the experiences that we've had, what we've seen abroad, and what we've tried out at home, so we don't need to necessarily make the same mistakes. Given our geographic proximity, meeting one another twice a year to discuss these current topics has really moved us forward. You would think that we'd all be sort of more or less at the same level, but the opportunity to have that kind of exchange regularly has really, in the end, resulted in a revamping of the product line of, I think, both parliamentary institutes, where we happen to be both called Parliamentary Institute in both countries, but the product lines have been revamped. The services have been, I think, modernized just as a result of, discussing and trying to move forward, and it's really helped us a lot. And maybe one product which I was not involved with, but which I think perhaps can be a showcase kind of product for our cooperation is the joint Czech and Slovak Digital Parliamentary Library. It has to do with our common history, obviously, because our parliamentary history until 1993 was common for many years. Therefore, many parliamentary documents are the same for the time during Czechoslovakia. The difficulty was the division of the archives with the split of Czechoslovakia, and this was creating a digitized version of our parliamentary archives, our parliamentary documents, bills, stenographic records, going all the way back into the middle of the 19th century, so also including many German language records from Austria-Hungary, has been a way to recombine those archives that physically were separated as a result of dividing the federal state. Well, they're now recombined digitally, and the 2 parliaments were able to share costs associated with digitization and avoid overlap. We didn't do the same digitalization efforts twice. So in the end, I think now we probably have, among European states, probably the most complete digital parliamentary library in the sense of being able to see stenographic records really going all the way back to the middle of the 19th century. Obviously, 20th century is much more, almost entirely complete. And from the beginning of the Czechoslovak state in the 1919-20, since that time we have almost everything. That's a good model, and the same library digitally is accessible from the websites of our two respective parliaments in the Czech Republic and in Slovakia. So those are examples of how we've cooperated regionally. Thank you for your attention. I won't take too much of your time.